Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. We decided to have a contest for the Basement Files. Well, it was a contest for the Basement Files / them investigations. And I had set up an investigation to be done at the Yoakum Memorial Hospital out in Yoakum, Texas, which is a couple of miles from here near Gonzales, Texas. So it's about maybe an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour drive. We had a contest where whoever told their scariest story, they got to get a free trip to go to Yoakum with us. It's not open to the public, and it basically is available for legitimate paranormal groups to investigate by appointment only. They like to call it on their Facebook page. If you go down to Old Haunted Yoakum Community Hospital, you'll see all the lease terms and the story about Yoakum Hospital. So we met with the guy, the owner of it, and he was excited to have us there. It was a Saturday night, and I think it was in summer. I don't remember what actual date, but I think it was June. It was a big building. The guy was late to meet us there, and he all he cared about was, he gave us the key and said, okay, just make sure you lock up and make sure nobody comes in or whatever. And then he gives us the key and he goes, who's got the money? And so I gave him the $350 and he was like, okay, we'll see you later. And then he leaves. So we had control of this whole building, like from 7 at night till maybe 6 or 7 in the morning. And so we decided to go in. He didn't even walk us around or anything. We had a walkthrough, I think a month before, when I decided to go ahead and make an arrangement to get the investigation. We made our little campsite in the first room because that's the only room that had electricity from outside. So we had this wire running through, and there was no restrooms available that worked. So he had a makeshift restroom. He had this I don't know, like a 10-gallon bucket, and he had a trash bag in there that was draped over, and all we had to do was squat and sit, either pee or he also told us when on the walkthrough, the initial walkthrough, that the place had been used as a haunted attraction. So on the walls it had die, or you're gonna die, you're next, and it had all these things written in red. It had handprints on the wall in blood. It had the gurneys, and it had like a lot of stuff that was used for their haunted attraction when they sent people through and scared them and whatever. So we were sitting there and we decided to do an EVP session. One of the girls, the contestant winner, she wanted to sit in the wheelchair that was there. So we sat her in there, and she was like getting all freaked out and say, I don't feel right, I don't feel right. And she felt things on her and stuff because it was pitch black. And I could see through my infrared video camera, but she was like getting all weirded out and everything. So then second floor is the one that had the story. The second floor is where all the children's hospital part was. It had incubators where newborns were, and it still had some hospital beds in the rooms where the moms slept. And we walked through, and we went through the nurse's station after our first break. There wasn't a lot of activity there at that time that we thought or did not see, because we were still trying to get settled into the building, and for some reason we couldn't do it. We couldn't mesh together. Something was off, and I don't know what it was. We're in sync and we can validate each other. We were being blocked. We couldn't get anything as far as the connection, not only between us, but to the other side. And I started to get, I had this growing feeling inside me of pure anger and pure hate, and I just didn't want to be there anymore. I was tired. I was like, I just didn't want to be there. I hated everybody. I didn't want to look at anybody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't even want to be in the same damn room as anybody. That's how hateful and angry I was feeling. And Tracy was the total opposite. He was starting to feel somber, very sad, and very emotional. And he was like, he kept apologizing. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And that pissed me off even more, because I was like, what the fuck are you sorry for? I was like so mad. And I couldn't take it anymore. I had to walk away. The EVP session stopped and everybody was taking pictures. And then they wanted to go to the other room. I didn't want to follow them. I went off in the dark by myself to the other room, to a whole other room. And I saw chairs there against the wall, and I sat there, and my blood was boiling, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. I went downstairs, and everybody else came after me, and then they all said, you know, that was weird. I was feeling weird. I caught these weird feelings, and I was like so pissed off. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just sat there drinking my soda, and I was like, I don't want to talk to these people. I don't even want to be here. And then in the second floor, there was a very jealous man who married a woman who was a nurse in the pediatric ward. And he thought she was having an affair with one of the doctors there. And he showed up at the hospital and he shot her in the head. She died on the floor in the second floor. And there was a standoff or something outside, and the cops ended up shooting him outside of the building, and he ended up dying. They don't tell you where his body's buried because people were desecrated. I think that's what happened. Basically, Tracy was feeling her emotions, and I was feeling the husband or boyfriend, whatever he was, his rage. Because I could... That's one thing when you go into an investigation, you develop your senses, and I told everybody after the investigation that I was so angry that I felt like throwing people out of the window off the second floor. And everybody agreed that they wanted to go back. I didn't want to go back. Everybody wanted to go back. Unfortunately, Tracy passed away before we could go back. And so he even said that it felt like we each left a piece of ourselves there. Here's some of the evidence, pictures and videos and a couple of EVPs. You tell me what you think. Enjoy.
What did you spell, Dorvan?
What? I thought that one started with an N.
What did it spell?
Started on the N, didn't it?
That's
yeah.
what
Dorvan's a drug. That's why I said, so what messed you up? And Dorvan's a drug, or was a drug. I don't think it's made anymore.
Did this once used to be like the emergency room or something like that?
And I think this is where they brought a lot of critical care patients.
So one wing of this probably was the ICU or something.
Could have been.
2 fingers, don't push hard. Just very lightly, don't even touch it. Are we even talking to Ada still?
Then who are we talking to?
So who was doing the heavy walking around earlier? It would be a shame not to capture your voice and prove to everybody that you do exist. You don't have to be shy. That's why we call it safety in numbers. So is there anybody here that wants to talk to us or would like to talk to us, I should ask? And that may explain why there's so much chaos on the second floor.
Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you hanging out with me, letting me tell you a story about Yoakum Hospital. If you get a chance to go to Yoakum, Texas, investigate it. If you got $350 for one night, go for it. Sometimes, certain days, if you go and you find out, I think it's either a Thursday or a Wednesday, where he'll let people go for free if you're interested in investigating or just checking out the hospital in general. So get in contact with Robbie and, get him on Facebook at Old Haunted Yoakum Hospital, Community Hospital on Facebook, and go get scared. Go find some evidence. He's got some really good, compelling evidence of a shadow person in the building walking when nobody was in there, and it was a trap cam that caught it. So go check it out. Until my next video, thank you for hanging out with me. Go like and subscribe to my other channel. Please like and subscribe to this one. And I'll see you on my next video. Pleasant screams, everybody.